Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I am a nutrition entrepreneur. But here's the catch. I have a full-time traditional dietitian job. My entrepreneurial endeavors are my side hustle. I've been making six figures through my job and side hustle doing things that I love. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Welcome to the 46th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, Narwhals, Fireflies, and Blogging as a Business. So you guys, I know it's a silly title, and it's going to be a slightly silly episode. I'm going to share with you guys some stories and going to kind of disclose some things about me that maybe is a little silly, but I've actually been thinking about recording this episode for a while, so I'm really grateful to have you guys here as I talk to you about narwhals, fireflies, and blogging as a business. So you may be wondering, what the heck do those three have in common? And I'll tell you, what they have in common is these were things I didn't know existed until I saw them with my own eyes. So I think I'm first going to start off by telling you a little story about me and fireflies. So I did a summer internship at Purdue University. It was a food service internship, not like a dietetic internship. It was when I was an undergrad still. I went to Purdue University for the summer. I was there for 6 weeks. I got to stay in the dorms. I stayed in Shreve Hall, and it was wonderful and it was lovely. So I remember it was nighttime one day, and there was like a fire drill or something. And so we all had to, go down the stairs, go outside and wait until the drill was done. So when we were out there, I was looking around, and all of a sudden I saw this thing light up, and I was like, what was that? And then it lit up again, and it lit up again. And I got close, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a firefly. They do exist. And I was like nerding out. And a little backstory, I guess I should start there. I'm from California, and we do not have fireflies in California. Now, from my perspective, I had only ever seen fireflies in cartoons and books. Yeah, I saw them on TV, but if I'm honest with you, I thought they were special effects. I did not know that fireflies were real until I was in my early 20s. Maybe that's embarrassing, but that's the truth. So I just remember how mind blown I was. I was like, I had no idea fireflies were real. Now, I always tell that just kind of as a funny story, and I'd like to think, okay, I'm 37 now, or no, I'm 38 now, and I'm like, okay, yep, I know what's up, I know it's real. But let me talk to you guys about narwhals. So I was at Disney World recently. I went to Epcot with my husband, and we went to, if you're not familiar with Epcot, it's really cool. There's all these different countries you can go to, and, they kind of look like the country. They feature the culture, all these things. So we ended up going to Canada, and they had this show I recently saw online that I think they closed it. I don't know if it's temporary or permanent, but they had the show where you walked in, and you're standing in this big room, and all around you are these screens, and you're watching these shows, and they're showing all these highlights from Canada and how beautiful it is and all the things. And then they ended up kind of featuring some of the more northern cold parts of Canada. And all of a sudden, this mythical creature comes out of the water. It looks kind of like a whale with a big old horn on its head. And I'm like, I gasp. I'm so glad we still have social distancing, so people around me didn't actually hear me. I was like, oh, they do exist. Because narwhals, guys, I didn't know that narwhals were real either until I saw them with my own eyes when I was at Disney like 1 month ago at the age of, I was 37 then, had a birthday. But I just remember cracking up because even recently I was watching a show with my son on Netflix, and there was this kind of like this kid on the show who's one of those guys who's kind of endearing but kind of annoying, and he was talking about like, oh yeah, I spent the summer saving the narwhals, and I was just laughing like, oh, what a nerd, narwhals don't exist. I just had to reflect back on that like, oh my goodness, they do exist. And anyways, and I know those are two silly stories I'm sharing you, and you might be thinking now, wow, it took Katie till she was in her 20s to know that fireflies are real, and in her 30s to know that narwhals are real, and I'm starting to question like, what else do I think is fake? But I will say about narwhals, like they always call them like the unicorn of the sea, and I always thought they were these mythical made-up creatures like a unicorn, because again, I'd actually only ever seen a narwhal in kids' books and on cartoons, so I'd never seen a video or anything of narwhals in real life. So anyways, so how does this tie in to blogging as a business? So how it ties in, again, was I didn't know that blogging as a business was real until I saw it with my eyes. Like Fireflies and Narwhals, I didn't realize that these were real things outside of this concept of like, oh, fairy tales, right? So how did I actually first see blogging as a business? Well, I'll tell you. I actually learned about it through the Unconventional RD with Erica Jilson. I was on Facebook one day and I had this notification that popped up and said, Facebook is moving more towards groups. We think you'd be interested in this group. And there was this lovely group called the Unconventional RD. Click join. As soon as I got access to that group, I saw that Erica had just posted a free webinar on blogging, or I think it was like Make Money Blogging. And I was like, ooh, tell me more. I didn't even know this was a thing. So I had missed the actual webinar. I shot her a message. She sent me the replay, and I actually still have my notes. Now, you're probably listening to this on the podcast, but if you are watching on YouTube, which I'm on YouTube at the Dietitian Side Hustle, I'm actually sharing my notes right now. So I still have my notes because it was like when I first saw Fireflies. It was like when I first saw Narwhals, just that gasp of, oh, it does exist. This is possible. So I actually took 2 pages of notes, front and back, and I was writing down like a mad woman. I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. You probably heard me say before that I always thought that to have a side hustle that involved seeing patients, right? And I see patients in my full-time job. I had no interest in seeing patients outside of my full-time job. So when I learned that I could make money through a blog without seeing humans, I was like, this is the coolest. So I wrote down all these notes, and it's just so funny to reflect back because that was in May of 2019? Yeah, May of 2019 that I learned that blogging as a business was real. So anyways, it's just fun to look back on these notes and just kind of see where I was and where I am now. So now you likely know, if you listen to the podcast, that blogging is my primary side hustle, and it is one of the largest income streams that I have. I am able to make money through my blog, The Geriatric Dietitian, through ad revenue, selling digital goods, affiliate income, selling ebooks, and a course that I now have on my website. So I have 5 streams of completely passive income that I'm making through the blog, and then also additional streams of income when people find me online and they might approach me with a gig or a job that they want done because I am a specialist in geriatric nutrition. So I guess kind of roundabout of blogging as a business is that it is something that sounds like this mythical thing, like Fireflies are Narwhals, if you thought they were fake. Maybe you're like me. If you're listening to this and you're like, what, Katie, I didn't know that either. Send me a message so I don't feel so alone. And if you do, that's okay. You don't have to message me. But like I said, I just didn't know that it was real. And so if you're out there listening, you're like, I had no idea I could make money blogging. 100%. It is possible. You can do it. So if you want to learn more about blogging as a business and like, how is this actually possible? If you head on over to my website, dietitiansidehustle.com, there's a couple places that you can find my free blogging as a business webinar. Probably the easiest way to find it would be to click on, in the top menu, it says Start Here. Click on Start Here, and the very first thing it tells you to do is watch our free 24/7 webinar. So this is a webinar. You just click on it, you give me your name, your email. I shoot the the information to you so you could watch it as much as you want. But it is a free webinar where I talk all about how to blog as a business, bringing in multiple streams of income on your own time and from the comfort of your own home without seeing patients. So, I love showcasing blogging because it really has been a blessing for me and my family and my life. And I have the most fun teaching other dietitians on how they too can be bloggers and have fun doing it. So this is actually a really short episode today. I thought I would talk longer about my stories, but I guess they really weren't that long. But sometimes it's nice to have a short podcast, right? So I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening. Your action item for today is to check out my blogging as a business webinar. You can find it on the website or in the show notes if you have access to that. And yeah, go learn more about blogging as a business because it is possible, you guys. It is not a myth. It is not a concept. It is something that you yourself can do. So until next time, take care, guys. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, guys. Be sure to head on over to the Dietitian Side Hustle website at dietitiansidehustle.com and check out our coaching page to learn about all the ways that we can work together. Have an amazing day, and I'm so proud of you for taking the initiative to listen to this podcast. Now go out there and get it done. Bye, guys.